We're back with the 1986 Yamaha YZ125. We picked this thing up a couple videos ago and we got it running, but it had a terrible smoking problem. It smoked more than any bike I've ever owned, and that would follow plugs like crazy. So we tore the engine down and found out that the crank seal was bad on the right hand side here, so the clutch side. And here is the old crank seal we took out. The spring on the seal was completely off of it before I even took it off. And yeah, you could just tell oil was leaking right to the crank. Also, we found that this governor gear right here for the power valves was completely broken in half, and all the pieces were laying in the case half here. So that was not good. We are going to tear this thing down completely today, redo the seals, redo the crank bearings, and get that all fixed, and then hopefully dig out all the metal chunks that could possibly be in the transmission. But the crank was good. No up and down play on the crank at all, just a little side to side, which is perfect. The transmission spins smooth, it goes through all the gears, so I'm not too worried about that. Last video we ended where we didn't have the correct puller for the flywheel, so we finally got it. This is what it looks like. Kind of a specialty puller. And if you type in 1986 YZ125, the wrong puller comes up. They give you like a 15 to 25 millimeter puller, and that's incorrect. This is the right one. So this is the one you need. This is what it looks like. So let's get going on this engine. We have a lot to do. We got a brand new piston for it as well. A little Weisskel piston here. Got new grips, new seat cover, gasket kit, and we're going to try to clean up the plastics as well today. Bring those back to new. Alright, let's get this flywheel off. So let's see. Spin that in. Hopefully this is going to work. Let's see what size it is. Pull that right off, no problem. Get the shifter off of here. On the hammer, right in that crack right there. Spreads it open a little bit. Pull right off here. Alright, all these bolts come out. Alright, let's see if we can split these cases here. That is not budging. Alright, it's slowly coming. There we go. Just had to give a couple whacks with the hammer. on both sides and she came right off, so I wasn't too stuck on there. There we go. Here's the other seal right there. Punch that out later. All the bearings feel good in here. Yep, those all look good. No metal shavings at all. Looks great. Yeah, so it appears like no metal shavings got in here, which is awesome. Ooh, that crank bearing is shot. So this bearing shot in here. It's pretty loud. This one came off with the crank. That one feels smoother. I have to replace it since we have a new one, but I don't know if I can get that off. That might be a little tricky to get off, but yeah, there's a little play in there. I don't like that. I definitely want to replace that. Huh. Wonder what a good way to get that off is. I'm gonna have to cut it off. But yeah, those crank bearings are junk. Transmission. Looking at all the teeth here, looks really good. No missing teeth at all. Nothing looks ground down. Everything looks amazing there. Alright, we took our Dremel, cut the outer bearing race off, and we're just going to try to crack it. This is hardened steel, so it's brittle. It doesn't flex very well, so that's why it broke right in half like that. Now we can hopefully get these ball bearings off here. Oh, there they go. Now with this part, I think we're going to use a puller to try to get that off of there, because that is no way coming off. Or we can try to cut it just like we did this. At least warm it up and see. Don't want to go too deep. That's pretty good right there. Just see if we can at least loosen it up a bit. Wish we could get a little further in there. See if we can cut a little bit more off of there. There we go. That cracked. Now we should be able to slide that off. There we go. So as long as you can get a crack in there, you can see the little crack that we made. Made a wedge, pounded a screwdriver in there. You can see the little crack all the way through, and that loosened it up enough to slide off the shaft there. So we didn't damage anything. You can see no damage whatsoever to the crank. In there, clean up all the surfaces here. We need that gasket material to really bind here. You don't want any oil on the surface of these cases. All the oil here, all the old gasket material. Same within here. Let's see what came off of there. Alright, ready to install the bearings. Alright, just going to heat up the area where the bearing's going in. Just going to use a heat gun. It takes a little bit of time. But we've got the bearings in the freezer right now. They should just drop right in after we heat this thing up. This should just drop right in, hopefully. Alright, that one took a little force to get in there. But it's all smooth. Alright, bearings are in, looking good. Alright, so we're at the left side crank seal. This is going to be facing up with the lettering on the outside. not this way. You can see the spring is on this side. We want this going this way like that. Let's grease that up. So this crank seal, since the oil is on this side of the case and the crank is on the other side, we're installing this one with the spring this way. So you can see there's a little spring in here. This is the open end. And we're putting the flat surface with the lettering down this time instead of up. Just gonna grease that up. It helps to heat up the case here, which we already did. So this can just be pushed on. All right, like that. All right, that looks perfect. All right, the surface is all clean here. All the transmission look good. Put a little gasket maker around here. Then we're going to do the same thing for the other case side. A little on the transmission. We're going to press these cases together with our tool. All right, I'm pretty sure my camera ran out of battery when I was pressing the cases together, but we just used our press tool and the cases went together perfectly. Everything spins smoothly, so I can get this thing bolted down. All right, getting the crank gear on here. There's a little woodruff key that goes in this slot. And this goes over the woodruff key. This is what makes contact with the seal. We've got a nut right here. All right, clutch going on. Whole basket can go right on here. All right, we've got a brand new gasket for the water pump cover here. We're gonna put a little bit of grease on there and then get the cover on. So let's grease that up. I highly recommend putting grease on the gaskets. Otherwise, if you decide to tear this thing down in the future, you're gonna have to buy all new gaskets for it, because the gaskets will stick to the cases and then just rip off. But with the grease, it should just come right off and you can save your gasket. It's kind of nice. So this is going to go on here like that. All right, let's start working on the cylinder. So the rings on this thing were just completely shot, and there's just a bunch of blow by. Now if you look at here, the cylinder, if you look at the cylinder here, you can see there's a bunch of rust buildup at the bottom, almost like water got in there and sat, with the piston up at the top. So we're gonna try to hone that off and hopefully get most of it out of there. It's just really rough. It's all rusty in there. So we already took the power valve out last video and disassembled that, so that's not in the way. But we'll get this all cleaned up really good once we get this thing honed out. Stroke oil for lubrication. Just pour a little bit. Just pour a little in there. Because we got the right size piston for it. Here we go. Oh yeah, that looks great. All right, we stole Jade's toothbrush from inside. All right, cylinder is all cleaned off. I'm gonna have to get a sandblaster to start sandblasting these things because these are getting pretty hard to clean. And I think it would look a lot better if you just sandblasted it, and then I could even paint it after that and make it look brand new. And it just takes one more step. So we'll have to go to Harbor Freight, get a sandblaster for the next project. But yeah, you can see it's pretty clean. As best as I could get it, you know, with soapy water. Everything's blown out, all the ports are blown out, so there's no more debris from the hone in there, so everything's good to go. So we got a brand new piston for this. Here's the ring. Let's see here. Here's the piston. It's weird this one didn't come in a bag. But you can see it's a 56 millimeter piston, so it's, I believe that's stock for this. Pin, got our clips here. And on these, I don't think you have to drill the holes because we don't have the bridge. So here's the old piston right here. And yeah, no holes were drilled. And here's the exhaust right here, and you can see there's no bridge in there. So if there's a bridge, it'd just be a thin line like that by the exhaust. And we don't have that, so we don't have to drill holes on this one. So let's just put the piston in there and just kind of feel what it feels like. Feels pretty good. Not a whole lot of slop in there. We'll do a quick ring check. There is an N on this one, you can see right there. That's going to face up on the piston. We'll shove this down here and measure the ring gap. Ring gap is going to be perfect on this, it looks like. You can see right in there, there's the ring gap. I think it's going to be 17. Yep, 17 just fits in there, so 17 thousandths for the ring gap. We'll get the ring installed onto the piston here. Remembering to do the end facing up when installing. Let's see right here. There we go. Let's get these reeds on. This can only go on one way. Get the clip in there. All right, we're about to install the power valves. So we got this all cleaned up, all decarboned. So these are gonna go like this with the two pins together in here. It's going towards the right side. And then this one goes over here. And they should just fit right together perfectly here. There. Clicked into place. Now, this Allen bolt goes all the way through here. This is going to hold this in place. I have to see which way this thing goes. It goes like this. It goes like this. All right, time to get the cylinder on here. All right, time to get the head on. We've got our two O-ring gaskets here. Just gonna oil these up before we put them on. This is the outer one. Yeah, that one needs to be stretched a little. That one's pretty short. See if that does the trick for us here. Looks good. Oil this one up, the inner ring, the inner gasket ring. Perfect. All right, let's get this head on. All right, so I'm about to put this power valve linkage back on here, and I noticed something. When this moves up, this was hitting that right there and rubbing. And you really can't put a washer behind there because it's squared off. So we're just gonna grind down this a little bit so that that doesn't hit. So you can see it was hitting that. And I think that's what led to this gear breaking off because that controls power valves. So I'm guessing it got stuck. It tried to spin, broke that gear. So we're gonna try to prevent that from happening this time. So we're just gonna grind that down a little bit. You can see it's already starting to grind down, so it won't hurt the thing. Alright, that physically can't hit anymore. Alright, cylinder torque specs are 22 foot-pounds, head torque specs are 20 foot-pounds. Let's do the head here. Crisscross pattern here. There we go. Alright, until your engine is put back together, everything rotates smoothly, everything's lubed up, so let's install this into the bike. Looks like I have to tap that. So it looks like part of a bolt got broken off inside of here. We're just gonna drill that out. That's working. All right, we got brand new grips for this thing. These grips are horrible. Take those off. These are the grips we got. ODI. Open those up. Alright, new grips are installed. Alright, let's change out the seat cover. You can see it's all brittle. It's really cracking. Looks like it was left outside in the sun for a long time. We got a brand new one here. Let's see what this looks like. Should say Yamaha on it. Yep. So it's just like the original. So that should look pretty nice. So let's get that installed. Hopefully it's the right size. Looks like it should be. Alright, let's... Yeah, that was junk. Alright, seat is all done. That definitely took a while. This material is really thick, so it's hard to work with. Had to use the heat gun quite a bit to get that stretched out. Alright, let's get some oil in here. This thing takes, it says 650 milliliters. Alright, just using 10W40 wet clutch oil. Alright, let's get a little 41 going in there. Alright, we've got fresh fuel in there and oil. We've got coolant in there. Let's see if this thing fires up. That sounds pretty good. not bad. Fired right up. Sweet. This thing's running good. Alright, just gonna bolt a couple more things down and then we'll take it for the first test drive. Wasn't smoking excessively, so I think we got her fixed up. Alright, I just painted the plastics black. Just a quick spray paint. We are going to get new plastics for this thing, so I wanted it to look a little bit better. Not all multicolored. So if you can imagine, we're gonna have all white everything right here. So everything that's black will be white, and it should look pretty good. We painted up the pipe. That looks pretty decent as well. So it's looking pretty good. Once we get new plastics, it should really, really look nice. But yeah, these plastics are pretty much junk. There's like 3 layers of paint on them. And I'm not gonna spend like 10 hours trying to paint strip them. All right, we'll fire right back up here. Now that it's cooled down, let's see. Oh yeah, fires right back up. Let's go test drive this thing. smoky. Don't know what's going on there. Running good. Well, it doesn't get much better than that. This thing is running great. I was a little worried there for a second because it was puffing out white smoke, but it cleared right up. I think it was just residual oil in the pipe, and then the oil I put down the cylinder and the piston to lube it up. So it smoked for a little bit, then it stopped and cleared out, and it was only smoke and blue smoke. So I know that two-stroke oil is burning, and it smells a lot better, has way more response, and it idles perfect too. So yeah, before it wouldn't idle, it would lag really bad in first gear, barely had any power, and then obviously it would smoke a ton. So that crank seal was just gone. But yeah, new crank bearings, new crank seals, new piston, new top end. Yeah, it definitely fixed the problem. We don't have any more white smoke coming out of this thing, and it's super peppy. It's really fun. So it's running pretty much perfect. There could maybe be a small tune to the carb, but I mean, it's pretty much spot on. Not too bad. So we're gonna look for some plastics for this thing. I think they make new ones for it. So all we're gonna have to do is clean up the tank, get this paint off, and then we can get the original plastics for it. And this is gonna be a sharp looking bike when it's done. But at least the engine's running good. Everything's tight on it, no oil or coolant leaks out of here. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the rebuild on this one. We went from a dog of a bike to a very snappy, powerful bike. So I'm happy. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next video, and until next time, we are out.